up for Freeman.
What a catch!
That's insane. Edward, can he make the catch?
He makes the that may be one of the great throws ever made.
He did what?
Back to Derailed. This is the Packer Project, and I am JJ Lahey, your host. And yes, the rumors are true. Jake is here tonight. Jake, we missed you, old buddy. Listen, Friday was not a complete disaster, but that's only because the chat showed up and they did their part. We had Iowa Joe and Tool for this and United Bates, and everybody was there except for Dershel because Dershel's doing stupid wedding stuff. Loser.
That's
Everybody
right.
else though was there, and they put together one heck of a show, and I was along for the ride. Glad to have you back, buddy. We really missed you. If there was any part of me that was tempted to get, a little feeling big for my britches or a little cocky, like, maybe do I really need old Jake on this podcast? That answer resoundingly was yes. We need Jake on the podcast. Need it. Toolful says I can feel Jake. I'm not going to read that one out loud, actually.
Listen, I know what the reference is, but no thank you.
Not reading that one. We got Drew in the chat here. Took Loki, his dog, to the mall. Sounds like Loki had a good time. Excited about that. Jake, did you see the news in Packerland that Zaire Franklin been making the media rounds a little bit? Zaire Franklin was on podcasts, starting to talk like a leader, which I think is probably important. He gave a big, long interview featured on NFL.com. He was talking about Jordan Love, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't really know, other than Micah Parsons, who I expect to be the really vocal leaders of the defense this year. And there's absolutely room for Zaire to be that guy. So I kind of like that he seems willing to take on that mantle. Thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for sure. There's got to be somebody vocally and hopefully, physically setting a tone out there. I do think there is very much a little more laissez-faire, kind of just lunch pail, not a lot of fire attitude with a lot of the team, really. But yeah, it's good to have.
It's kind of been
it's good to have a couple players like that.
It's been kind of a staple of Matt LaFleur Packers. That sort of laid back attitude,
Yeah, it's very true.
I apologize for the screen jumping around. I'm not trying to do that. I'm sure it's super annoying that it's happening. I was just trying to press the right buttons, and I pushed like 4 of the wrong buttons. So if you're audio only right now...
That's what we get for doing it live.
Be grateful. Be grateful that you're audio only right now, that you didn't have to witness that. Hopefully people aren't seasick. Dershel is in the chat here. He says, my apologies for being late. I got my Green Bay draft hat delivered and had to open it. Dershel, I think you should text me a picture of that I can put on the stream so we can all admire your handsome hat. Dershel also wants to know, which player does Gannon punch first? My money is on Nixon. I think we all hope it's Nixon. Tulfa said Edgerrin and Zaire. Probably wasn't who he was saying we were going to be punched, but I also could just kind of see that.
I see what he's doing there. I see it. Kind of wish it was C.J. Allen and Edgerrin Cooper. But it's all right. The draft is in the past. The draft is in the past.
There's a lot of things we can and do wish.
Can't go back.
Well, we can later in the deeper off season when we're doing our massive multi-year redraft pods.
Yeah.
You're telling me people are not going to show up for a 2021 redraft pod? I think that would do numbers. People would love to see.
Yeah.
Not just who should we have taken with 2020 hindsight, 2021 hindsight, shall we? But also who would you and I have each taken at each pick? I think that pod would do numbers.
It probably would. Yeah, I agree.
But Franklin, going back to Zaire Franklin, he said that Jordan Love is a proven franchise quarterback, which is obviously true. And he said that having a quarterback and a pass rush gives any team a chance. And he said that he and Edgerrin Cooper have talked, and they are aiming to be, quote, the best duo in the world. Are you a believer in this linebacker room?
I'm a believer in Edgerrin Cooper to take a year 3 leap. Yeah. That's what I got for you.
I don't think that Zaire Franklin is nothing. You know, we've had some Zaire Franklin conversations.
Yeah.
I think it, to me, it's certainly a step down from where we were with Quay, but a huge step up from where we would have been with just Isaiah McDuffie being the option. So I do expect Edgerrin and Zaire to be the two interior linebackers who don't come off the field. That they're going to be out there all game long, all year long, health notwithstanding.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I mean, I think they can be a pretty formidable duo. Again, it's I think you're going to see a lot of, you know, when you're looking up like average depth of tackle from these two, I feel like it's going to be maybe a little further downfield than you want, but ultimately I think that these guys are just simply going to be asked to be running and chasing everywhere on the field. So I do expect if kind of what we're talking about and what we kind of noticed and what was very apparent early last season was how much they rallied to the football, and the yards after catch stuff for opposing teams was almost nothing. They and Evan Williams are pretty much going to have to set that tone, I think. I think Bullard can be a part of it as well, but those guys are going to have to really be setting the tone of, you know, yeah, you may have this underneath stuff. You know, run your screens, run your quick game, spread it out. You're not going very far. And I think they can do that. I think it's really if Franklin can do everything between the tackles, flowing more downhill towards the line of scrimmage is probably the biggest question you're going to have. But in terms of taking up space and constricting all that space, I think they're going to be pretty effective in that regard.
Sure. Yeah. In some sadder news, we had throat was just killing me here. Sherman Lewis, the former offensive coordinator for the Packers, passed away this past week. Cliff Crystal, the official Packers team historian, was doing some stuff talking about him. He was the offensive coordinator from 1992 to 1999. Obviously, tremendously impactful era for the Packers. Really huge responsibility to install the Holmgren era offense in Green Bay. You know, like we give a lot of credit to Brett Favre and why have I drawn a blank on his name? We're talking about Ron Wolf. Ron Wolf and Brett Favre. We give a lot of credit to those guys for turning the Packers around and installing the Green Bay mystique, the legend that has persisted now for more than 3 decades. But guys like Sherman Lewis, you have to have good people at every level in order to effect the kind of change that was effected in Green Bay in the 90s. Lewis was absolutely a huge part of the staff that dragged the Packers back into the modern NFL. His role in the Holmgren area is easy to overlook, but it really mattered. And I'll say I enjoyed learning about him this week because he wasn't somebody who was on my radar. You know, Cliff Crystal started talking about him, and I'm like, all right, I was a little kid back then. I don't know who this is. Let's go learn about him. And I enjoyed And I enjoyed that. He and Ray Rhodes were the NFL's first black offensive and defensive coordinator pairing on the same staff. So, ushering in more than one type of new era in a positive way for the Packers.
It must be nice to have an offensive coordinator that does stuff on a staff. That must be nice.
I've heard
been a
it's
while.
Nice.
It's been a while.
I can imagine that it's nice. On other teams that I root for in other sports, like college football, I get to enjoy things like that. So, it'd be nice to be able to enjoy that with my NFL team as well. But
For
Joe
sure.
here is addressing the next point I want to talk about. That's why I grabbed this photo of Sherm. So I've seen this picture a bunch of times because this photo makes the rounds every few years when people are looking at NFL style that needs to come back. Look at these starter jackets. Yowee. I would love to get one of these. The hat I could do without. That diagonal hat doesn't do anything for me, but that jacket, sign me up for that. This is like those paper cups that we had ever when we were a kid, and they were it's like turquoise and purple on a white cup. This is like that.
Taco
but
Bell
as
cups.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Taco Bell was the whole interior was all themed like that.
Yeah.
It's like 90s upon 90s. And I think it's time for more 90s style to come back. I don't know what this thing is doing. Facebook is glitching out on us right now. Sorry to the Facebook audience if your connection is getting disrupted.
Very, very strange.
The other thing I want to talk about,
I do love the starter jackets. I feel like they're out there. At least maybe not those exact ones, but I think Homage and places like that are doing their best to bring back at least something close to those starter jackets.
Can I swap this, please? Can you let me swap it? There we go. Let's see what's out there as far as 90s Packer starter jackets. I mean, some of these are pretty cool. It's not the same Taco Bell cup, but this one's sweet.
Oh,
It's
there you
Mitchell
go.
and Ness. I've seen Mitchell and Ness products a few times. I don't really know anything about the brand, but this is at least like the third time that we have found cool Packers merch on this pod that is Mitchell and Ness. So whatever they are. Again, I don't know anything about the brand, but
Must be cooking.
let me see.
Gosh, you got me searching it. I gotta be careful how much I'm doing on this laptop to make sure we still have a stream.
Well, your video
With me-
feed
with
has
me.
frozen a few times. I've gotten nervous.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you're in
This
a
one's
hotel
pretty
room.
tight. Check out this one right here. That's pretty sweet.
It's not bad. Nothing wrong with the all
Feel-
green. Give me that font.
Yeah, the 90s fashion, 90s NFL fashion was, oh, this is really close to that. So it's missing the white, but other than that, this is kind of the same thing. 90s NFL fashion was a real peak, but I will say, like, around the last time that we won the Super Bowl was a real low mark in NFL fashion. Like, you go back and look at some of the Super Bowl 45 merch that was out there, and I think that we're underrating how good we have it right now. But then you also go back and look at how good it was in the 90s. Like, you had 90s great fashion, pretty darn decent fashion now, and then you go back to like Super Bowl 45 era, and it was just the graphic design and style was just not that timeless.
Well, because all the reason it's coming back now is everybody wants the retro looks, and
that is true.
places are like, all right, yeah, we'll do that. There are some creators out there doing some good work that are like getting into team stores, but yeah, it does feel like the non-retro division, can kind of fall short.
talk about tight end for a minute before we get into our
Sure.
other topics.
Let's.
So David Njoku is officially off the market. Been wanting to talk about this for a few pods now. So it's really not super new news at this point, but he signed a deal with the Chargers, a 1-year deal worth up to $8 million with incentives and playing time and all that. I would probably have agreed to that deal, frankly, to bring in a guy of Njoku's caliber, even at this stage in his career. I'm just really nervous about the tight end room right now. We went and picked up, tried to claim Luke Lahey off waivers, and then he failed his physical, and so they didn't end up signing him. So, kind of the only addition we've made is R.J. Maryland, who, as we've talked about, he's not healthy right now. So even if you like him, and even if you weren't already nervous about how much development is left ahead of him, we don't think he's healthy. So it's like...
He also might not be a tight end.
He probably... That's the other thing. He probably really isn't a tight end. But we are really short on NFL tight end bodies. And I'm getting
Why
nervous.
we were drafting Oscar Delp.
This is why we're drafting a lot of tight ends, man.
So, just another player they just let
I'm just
wander
kind
on
of...
by.
I'm just kind of in a spot, Jake, where I'm getting really nervous with the playable depth issue.
Oh, for sure.
And we don't know when Tucker Kraft is going to be ready to play. I've made comments on social media about by X and such week, I think, we might have Tucker Kraft back. And people will be like, "What? Why don't you think he's going to be ready for week 1?" And I'm like, do you think he's going to be ready for week 1? Do the Packers think he's going to be ready for week 1? Does anybody think, even if he can go out there and play, that he's going to be healthy? I don't think that we should think that.
So Watson got hurt week 18, which was January.
Well, Watson's an alien. We can't.
And I know, and that's the other thing, right? He came back. So it was January. He came back in October, in a limited capacity, mid-October.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, we see that happen once, and we start to go back to, Adrian Peterson did it. Now Watson's done it. Maybe Mahomes is going to do it. I don't know. Dude's playing golf, with seemingly no issues when he's turning his knee. I have no idea what's going on there. If he returns, I think the Green Bay fan base might lose its mind because Parsons and Kraft aren't out there, when in reality we just don't know.
Tulfa says Njoku in this offense would be incredible. I'm super nervous with Musgrave as tight end too. Listen, you're probably going to have to deal with Musgrave as tight end 1 for a while. Just being realistic here. That is absolutely on the table that you might have to put up with that.
We're going 4 wide.
Iowa Joe asks a dangerous question that I'm not going to answer, and it's not because I don't love Iowa Joe. It's because I don't. It's too early in the night for the explosion that you're going to get out of Jake, and
I'll star
none of us
it.
can handle that.
I'll star that.
Hey, real quick,
I know the answer already, so.
I'm gonna distract from that question and that answer.
I know
This is my new flavor of redacted energy for the day. It is. Is it mirrored for you, or can you see it? Can you read it correctly?
Sour straws? Is that what that says?
Sour
strips?
Sour strips. I have never had the product that this is based off of, the sour strips.
I wish I could say I
haven't.
I've definitely had it.
The beverage itself, quite tasty. I've had similar candies and didn't care for them very much, but it makes a very tasty beverage. So shout out to Mrs. Lahey for finding this for me today. I was very excited. She went and did our grocery shopping at 7 a.m. this morning and came home with it, and she's like, "Hey,
wow,
I'm sponsoring tonight's episode." That's what she said to me. She said,
Love
"I'm sponsoring
that.
tonight's episode."
Shout out to our sponsor.
Shout out to our sponsor, Mrs.
what would we do?
Lahey.
Yeah, what will we do?
Question from Drew here. When will
Can we
Fitzpatrick
really quick
be healthy? What?
Well, yeah, that nobody knows. That's worse.
John
That's worse
Fitzpatrick,
than the ACL.
he tore his Achilles in December.
Yeah.
So that's typically like a 9 to 12 months,
I don't know if we're gonna
conservatively
see him.
speaking, injury to when you can get back into practice. And like he was good. I don't know how long they're going to stash him on their various injured reserves.
Yeah, and I think the tricky part about that even is think about the position he's often in when he's blocking. Like there's stress on that. There's stress on the lower leg near the ankle. That's getting stretched out when you're engaged as a blocker, right? When you're kind of either in pass pro or in run blocking, you kind of have to push off of that, like, psychologically and physically. Where are you at a point where you feel comfortable doing that again? At a position that's built on a lot of collisions on top of it. So I have to imagine we don't see him this year and hope that, if Green Bay's interested and he's still interested in playing for Green Bay, that happens maybe in 27 and that's supplanted by a draft pick. Something like that. Because, yeah, I just don't imagine you're going to see him this year.
Here's the full list of tight ends who are on our roster right now. Josh Wiley, who is healthy. From everything we've heard, he is healthy again. Messiah Swinson. And you may think to yourself, like, hey, Messiah Swinson, 6'7", 259 pounds, real dude, right? They got him wearing number 43. So you do
not ideal.
You do the math. RJ Maryland, who we like, but again, he's not healthy. He's not going to be healthy for like another year. So, again, just remember the name, put a pin in it, and like 6 months from now, when you see his name on something, don't be like, oh my gosh, this guy's never done anything. Yeah, he's not healthy.
Could technically be part of the receiver room. So,
Tucker Kraft, not healthy. Drake Dabney. So what about this? I'll give a one word after each of these guys' names. Ready? Josh Wiley, healthy. Messiah Swinson, 43. Luke Musgrave,
bad.
butt. RJ Maryland, wide receiver.
Receiver.
Tucker Kraft, injured goat.
Help.
Drake Dabney, tight end 1.
Nope.
Dude, we need a tight end so bad. And here's the thing. Here's what makes me mad. Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst think Luke Musgrave is the bee's knees. They're like, oh, we're good. We got Luke. That's why we didn't go get Njoku or anybody or even kick the tires on anybody. And when Luke Lachey failed his physical, we went, oh, guess we just don't need a tight end.
Which, like, I get it. Vertical passing offense, 7-step drop stuff in obvious looks. He can be a part of that, no question. But it's not. There really isn't a thing where you go, okay, Musgrave's on the field. Oh my gosh, he may stay in and block. Nobody's thinking that. Nobody in their right mind would be thinking that. So it just, again, it changes how teams are going to play. And so when he's out there, it's going to be like, no, we can get sub packages on the field because we trust that like a nickel defender will take him out in a run fit. Like we have no problem with that. So yeah, it's just it's tough. And Njoku would have helped a lot.
Would you say that the Packers failed the assignment on this one?
When you say this one, you mean the tight end position in the offseason? Yes, I think so.
Well, speaking of somebody else who failed the assignment, Dershel just sent me a photo of just his hat, not him wearing it.
Oh, I thought you said just to send a picture of the handsome hat. I thought you said to just send the hat. I said a picture
of him wearing it so we could admire his handsome, and then I did like a ... and then I said hat.
Oh.
But don't worry, it's okay. He texted me some lame excuse about why he didn't need to send a selfie of the hat.
Why was that?
That he's bad at taking selfies. That's his lame excuse.
I was figuring, wedding season, don't want to mess up the hair at all. Don't want it out of place for when.
That's a better
when
answer.
The ceremony, figured that's what we were going to get.
That's a better answer. Okay, last clippable moment for you guys to react to and make us go viral. Aaron Rodgers, still not retired, returning to the Pittsburgh Steelers officially, shocking everybody who's either under the age of 5 or working in media. That's what it is. Jake, I did a rant on the pod that you weren't on here because I'm mad because I feel like this is a huge wasted opportunity here. Ticks me off.
I did see this. I watched this.
Preseason game. The first preseason game is against the Steelers. But oh no! The NFL can't possibly bring Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers back to Green Bay. No, we're going to send the Packers to Pittsburgh. So stupid. Wasted opportunity. Listen, we're going to try and get Ed Policy to come on here for Ed Policy Day. I am going to bring this up. If he comes on here,
okay,
I'm going to badger him about this. I'm going to say, listen, man, you got to throw your weight around. You're the Green Bay freaking Packers. If you told the NFL, look, move the location of this preseason game, or we're going to go to a different league. We're going to go join the USFL. They would have no choice but to give you whatever you want because what is the NFL without the Green Bay Packers?
See, I feel like my first question for Mr. Ed Policy is
conference realignment.
No, I thought about that. That would be pretty good. That'd be pretty cash money of me. No, I was gonna ask him. You're in the building with Mark. The draft is in Green Bay. Was a little part of the plan, kind of, were you talking, all of you, the higher ups to Brian and asking like, hey, is this receiver thing going to happen here? Was there a little bit of a push? Was there a little bit of a nudge like, hey, receiver be pretty cool here, or something like that, Not like obviously doing what Jerry does or what Irsay would do or what the Panthers GM did before seemingly he's gotten more hands off.
Was that the Panthers or the Colts who they said we'll let you make a draft pick? Who was that? Was that the Colts or the Panthers?
Oh no, the Ravens let Bisciotti pick Adam Randall from Clemson, the running back. In the 5th round. So I would love to know if they were kind of.
Let's see what the NFL teams think of 5th round picks.
Yeah. And the Ravens have so many swings on day 3. They're like, you could make one. Hey, you delivering the pizza. You want to make one? Come here, make one. No,
that's what the Vikings were doing this year because they didn't have a GM.
Perhaps.
All right.
But yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers back, as you mentioned. Yeah, going to be interesting in Pittsburgh. Will they go 9-8 again? I don't know. My head says no. Not at all. Could be a disaster.
It depends on if they let Drew Aller play. If they let Drew Aller play, they might go winless.
Could be kind of fun. Then you can have Arch.
If you want that. If you're an NFL team and you want that, you probably could make that happen. It's probably possible. 12 said the Packers signed a DB who beat cancer. Why am I not remembering who this is? This doesn't ring a bell to me. Jake, do you know who this is?
Nope. No idea.
Checking my notes. I grabbed a bunch of notes from just stuff that happened. 12 who is it? Marlon Jones. Oh, did we sign somebody just this evening? Let me see here. Packers news. Here we go. Yeah, 6 minutes ago. Easton Butler. The Packers signed Vanderbilt DB Marlon Jones. Jones missed the 2024 season while he battled stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma, officially beating it and declared cancer-free on October 15th, 2025. That's pretty cool. I will just say, though, and Jake, I don't think this is uncalled for. I mean, I think we have to question how much he loves football if he's, gonna take time off to go beat cancer.
What are you doing?
Does he really love football?
What is this bit? What is this bit?
I'm just trying to.
This is an interesting bit that you're trying right here with the. I'm not sure it was
trying to go
try the
viral,
bit.
man.
Not sure that was a good time to try the bit, but I think if I'm not mistaken, did John Mechie have this also?
Mechie did
and had to step away from Houston. Okay, I thought so. So good for him.
No, that was in that was in college that Mechie had to take time off.
No, it would have been with Houston. It would have been with Houston.
It would have been right after he was,
because he's obviously
his rookie season.
Yeah, I think it was like right at the end of the rookie season, if I'm not mistaken.
Tulfa says his Make-A-Wish was to be a Packer. You know what? That is not a bad use of a Make-A-Wish, honestly. It is not. We got to get Big B on to come on and weigh in on whether he regrets using his Make-A-Wish to just go visit the Packers instead of becoming a
having
Packer.
them sign him. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah. Because here's the thing, like,
where's the contract?
Once they sign you to a contract, like, they have to have a reason to move on from you. Like, they have to at least give you the opportunity to prove that you suck, and maybe you don't.
Yeah, you never know.
Iowa Jeff
that is
said,
interesting news. They need corners. They need corners.
They've tried.
They need corners, man. They need corners.
Iowa Joe is telling us that if the Packers tried to sign him, that he would fail his physical.
Oh.
But I liked Joe's previous comment. He said, I want to make a pick. I don't even care what team it's for. I just want to make a pick. I actually agree with that. I would love to make a pick for a team, but I'd want to know which team it was ahead of time. So I could really decide, like, am I doing this to prove that I can pick a good player? Or am I willing to try and tank a team that I'm picking for if I really hate that team?
No. I think you got to be genuinely trying to make a good pick.
What round do you think they would give you? Like, do you think they would give?
They would not give me any round
before round 7. Well, they gave the Colts owner.
Yeah, but he's part of the team. He's an owner.
She
gave. Wait, she made a pick? When did she make a pick?
I'm pretty sure it was her, Carly.
Gordon Ursay.
Carly Ursay, yeah. Colts owner draft pick. Colts owner Carly Ursay Gordon. Oh, Ursay Gordon. That was Gordon Ursay. Carly Ursay Gordon's draft room phone call has the internet ready to act up. This is. Are you ready to prove everyone that they are wrong? This is not the article we were looking for.
That's not the one.
Fine. It wasn't Carly. So
I know Bisciotti
it was the Ravens.
For sure, Bisciotti made the Adam Randall pick. No doubt.
All right. Steve Bisciotti loves the NFL draft and has been the Ravens majority owner since 2004. After all those years in the draft room, the boss wanted to call one of the shots. Can you guess what website I'm reading this off of, Jake? It's BaltimoreRavens.com.
Wow.
Bisciotti made his first pick as Ravens owner, selecting running back Adam Randall, who we were interested in. We were interested in him out of Clemson with the last of the Ravens' 3 picks of the 5th round. They took him number 174. Eric DeCosta said on the Lounge podcast several days after the draft. Let's see. David Modell had made a pick in 1998. The final Mr. Irrelevant pick in that draft, he took tight end Cam Quayle. Steve said, man, I'd love to make a pick. I said, you could make a pick. We have lots of picks. Go ahead and make a pick.
That's why, to be very clear. That's why. Like, hey, we got 9 picks on day 3. You want to make one? Total crapshoot out here. Have fun.
Joe, I can't pin your comment because you swore in it, but I'll read it out loud and censor you for appropriateness. We know Woody Johnson didn't pick a guy because his grand said he sucked in Madden.
Yeah.
Woody Johnson makes lots of picks. And then, remember though, neither the Bills owner nor GM picked Keon Coleman. It was the coach. Yeah, they both agreed that it was the coach who picked him.
Look at me, I'm Brandon Bean.
You ducking?
I'm a snake. I'm a snake.
Sneaky snake. No,
I'm a
at first I
sneaky
thought
snake.
you were doing the Three Stooges. Like,
Oh, that could work as well.
All right, Jake, we've goofed around long enough. It's time. We have to start talking about the defense.
Perfect.
And when I say,
all right, Joe asks,
when I say,
who would you have picked at tight end in this draft?
when I say we've goofed around long enough, I mean that I've let you goof around on this one for weeks at this point. We have to do the defense. We got to talk about.
What do you want me to say about the defense? They got players who I wouldn't have picked in the draft. That's what the defense has.
All right. If Mr. Draft Robot, if I let you do a rant about the draft, would that help you get out of your system?
No, I think we can go to Jonathan Gannon. I think this would be a good combo.
Okay. I thought it was interesting thinking about the contrast between Philadelphia Gannon and Arizona Gannon, and trying to project forward where we think there's going to be differences between Gannon's defensive tendencies and what we just saw from Jeff Hafley for 2 years. But part of what I guess makes that not a straightforward comparison is that we kind of got two different versions of Hafley in those 2 seasons. And what's relevant about that is that you got different Hafley because the players changed. He wasn't coaching the same defense both years. And Gannon was talking a lot about how, and this is the direction that the NFL is going, you need to be humble enough and flexible enough to craft your defense around the players that you have. And the Packers have been trying to be real cute all offseason about whether they're going to be a base 4-3 or a 3-4. And everybody's saying like, oh, it doesn't really matter. You know, you're going to be, in nickel most of the time anyways. Okay. It matters, I think, the most, I would say, to me, when you're trying to figure out what types of linebackers you need to be filling roles out there. Because obviously the defensive front, I think, is going to be really fluid. But these linebackers are going to have extra burden placed on them if we're going this direction. And again, we still have some pretty significant questions about this defensive line, especially on the interior. And these linebackers are really going to need to have some clear directive, I think. There's other positions on the team, other players on the team, that you can just say, hey, Micah Parsons, go be Micah Parsons. Xavier McKinney, go be Xavier McKinney. The linebackers, I think, and we've seen this a lot, and it's kind of unfair, they're going to be a lot more in like the cleanup duty role for some of these freelancers. And I think that things can work, but if we're looking at offense and saying like, gosh, I just don't know about the tight end room, you kind of got this mirrored image on the defense of the linebackers, and it's like, I don't know that we have the linebackers to come in and make everybody else right.
Yeah, would have been helpful to pick one in a deep linebacker class. I think the interesting thing about the Gannon defense, right, is when you look at what happened in Philly, what did they do? They had a great front. I think they had 4 guys with 50 pressures or more in that season where they went to the Super Bowl. I think they had 5 with 45 pressures or more. I want to say it was Graham, Sweat, Reddick. Oh, boy. Hargrave. Those were the 4 with 50 or more. And I think Fletcher Cox had 45.
This is 2022?
Yes, it is.
Yes, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Reddick had 87. Hargrave
66?
had 66.
Boom, let's go. We're on
Brandon
fire.
Graham, 55. Josh Sweat, 51. Fletcher Cox, 45. And then, after those big 5, just give me a round 10 number, right? Somewhere between 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. Give me what range do you think that the next guy after Fletcher Cox?
It's got to be 10 to 20.
Yeah, it was 16.
Oh, I almost guessed 16. I thought it was. Was it Kaiser White with 16?
It was Milton Williams. Kaiser White was all the way down at 4 pressures.
I know. So I know that was the thing, right, with that defense as well. I think Kaiser White and TJ Edwards combined for 2,000 snaps.
Yeah,
so
TJ had
was
1,100 and Kaiser was at 900. So it was
heavily influenced on
2,200 snaps.
2 guys basically doing the heavy lifting at linebacker with little substitution. Remember, they drafted Dean that year. He was coming off injury. They weren't sure if he was going to play, so he didn't have a lot of snaps as a rookie. So basically leaned on those 2, but they leaned even more on the ability to just go win with 4 up front. Now, when Green Bay's healthy, I think you could say, okay, maybe they can win with 4, and, Van Ness takes a little bit of jump. Wyatt and Parsons, when they're healthy, which who knows when that is. And then you got kind of, insert 4th player here, depending on what down it is, right? So you could have that, but early in the season, you're not going to have that. So it wouldn't shock me if we see more of what Gannon Arizona edition looked like early in the season, and then they're able to, now we can mix it up. What are we going to do now? What do you think we're going to do? I think Evan Williams could do a lot of the Buda Baker, creep into the box late, right? Rotate down into coverage. Some of the things that Hafley was doing in the pressure packages, if you remember, obviously the pick against the Lions was a big one that I think a lot of people can go back to. I think you can see a lot of that from Evan Williams this year of this guy might blitz. He might, buzz at the flat. He might be doing a lot of this stuff around the line of scrimmage and in a late rotation capacity. And they let McKinney do a lot of the work on the back end in that regard. I think you could see a lot of that. And then I think obviously Bullard's going to be involved around the line of scrimmage a ton as well. So there might be kind of hey, we can recreate Buda Baker in the aggregate with these 2 guys. Let McKinney do what he does best. And we kind of have to bring a little bit more with the pressure packages early and see if we can get home. Because even if we tried to go with 4 with an unhealthy group up front, don't think they're going to get home. Isn't going to matter how good the coverage is on the back end. Right, because if you look at that 22 Philly defense in the secondary, my goodness. Not very my gosh. The names are striking, folks, and it was very clear why, a year and a half later, no, I guess 14 months later, they were like, this DeJean fella, this Mitchell fella, we're going to get those guys. Because it was
the starting cores were
bad.
Darius Slay and the ghost of James Bradbury.
Right.
And at safety, it was Marcus Epps and nobody else.
Reed Blankenship, I
C.J.
think.
Gardner-Johnson was out there for a little bit. Reed Blankenship was out there for 348 snaps, man.
Yeah.
That's it. C.J. Gardner-Johnson played 800 snaps, but Marcus Epps was out there for over 1,200 snaps by himself. People talk about a single high safety. It's how about we do a single season safety?
Would be good. And the good news is obviously Green Bay feels really good at safety, which they should. Now, they could have had McNeil Warren also, but that's neither here nor there. But I think they trust that room. They trust maybe more of the spine of the defense, maybe minus defensive tackle. But again, Hargrave pairing back up with Gannon, maybe he's healthier than he was last year as well, right? That could be a little bit of a bonus there. And then again, you have a rotation that maybe when everyone's healthy, you feel comfortable about. Because again, if at some point this Green Bay unit, no matter how much you're dialing up the pressure stuff and how much you're wreaking havoc, near the line of scrimmage, at some point that group up front's going to win. They're going to have to win in key spots.
Well,
now they're going to have
sure.
presumably one of the best players on planet Earth, kind of helping carry that torch, right?
Second half of the season.
Yeah, in the second half of the season when they probably need it. But again, I think a lot of it is going to just come down to, and again, this is why it's kind of, I get some of the unease with this team, because a lot of it is like, hey, this is, a little bit more of how it used to be with Green Bay, because Goody's gotten aggressive in free agency. Obviously did, in 25. It didn't go well. Went really well the first time he took some major swings. But this could be very much a Thompson kind of year of like, hey, we're banking on Jordan Morgan to kind of take up the mantle left tackle. We're banking on Evan Williams to keep going. Edgerrin Cooper takes a step. Van Ness takes a step. And then suddenly it looks a lot better than it maybe did right in the spring when nobody had done anything yet and could prove it. It feels like that type of season. Is it enough? Not sure. We'll find out, but
Gannon was.
But again, defensively, I think it's they're going to do everything they possibly can, I think, especially early in the season, to help the corners out. Because they're going to need it. And, he would love to help them out by saying, hey, we're going to put more bodies to coverage and help you guys out, right? And not make it all on you. The problem is I don't know what Wyatt's timeline looks like, but it could be kind of LVN and a bunch of young dudes and Hargrave, right, up front. LVN, Hargrave, and a bunch of young bucks up front, where it's kind of like, yeah, we're gonna have to help them out. So it's like, okay, guys, we'd love to help you out more, but we got to go get pressure so you guys aren't sitting out here having to cover for 7 seconds. And so it is going to be a tricky ask, and I don't think we're going to see. And again, even though I think there's a clear strategy that makes the most sense, I don't think we're going to get a clearly defined pattern from him over the course of the full season, because I think I imagine, especially because of who they're playing early in the season, based on the schedule, it's going to be kind of like, there's some things I really like here with what we're doing with the blitz package here, what we're doing with the linebackers here, and how they're aligning and what we can get to from pressure packages with that, right? He's going to still keep that in the bag. But when the guys come back that can rush the passer, we're like, all right, we're going to mix it up. We're going to help you guys out on the boundary. So I do think it's fair to go, for people who are saying, is he going to be like Philly Gannon or is he going to be like Arizona Gannon? No, I don't think it's going to be either. It's going to be very, and again, I hope it's not BS, right? I hope it's not like how he's not coach speak. Oh, you got to tailor it to the players and all that stuff. But I think the reason that I buy it with him saying this is because when you look at Green Bay's drafts, are they drafting for a specific scheme?
They certainly are not.
Right, exactly. They're a traits team, right? They're a traits team.
Yeah.
They're playing a 3-4 with two guys who weigh 270, playing wide 9. Like that's not where you're supposed to play. That's not your position. But we're going to do it. So they're very much a traits-based team, and they say, "Hey, coaching staff, let's figure it out. Let's see what we can do to make them. Let's see what the coaching staff and the position coaches and the defensive coordinator can do to make these guys better." Right? We'll go find these athletes with a lot of potential. We'll mix in some high floor smarts guys. We'll mix all that in. But we are going to draft the traits, and that's what they've been about, right? And you can go back to, Gary and Savage. I mean, it obviously wasn't his first draft, but first draft with a lot of capital said, hey, we're going Gary Savage. We're going to get some traits. We're going to get some electric movement skills. We're going to go get the electric thrower of the football who needs some footwork help, right? Who needs some mechanical work. Hey, let's go get the fast corner. I don't know what scheme he can play in, but let's see if we can play in ours, right? Hey, let's go get this 240-pound linebacker who's really, really fast. Let's go get this guy who's a jitterbug rushing the passer with a ton of explosiveness from the same team. Let's see how those guys do. Let's go get this big dude from Iowa who looks like Rashad Gary a little bit. Let's see what he could do, right? Like this is who they are. So I think the good news is Gannon saying that is kind of like, okay, yeah, I don't know what they're drafting for exactly. He probably thinks more so it's the four-man fronts where Hafley was kind of mentioning that, where it's like, yeah, no, Van Ness is a heavy end. Like he's an edge-setting defensive end. That's who he is. And so I think Gannon's, I think not playing to any of that with the coach speak of like, yeah, they're drafting for traits. I'm not going to say that out loud, but it's my job to come in and craft a defense that can fit most of what these guys can do. And that's what we're going to see.
I think that it makes a lot of sense when you look at it from that angle. It makes a lot of sense why Gannon would be an appealing name for LaFleur, because he, if you look at the defenses that he had to work with in Philly and in Arizona, first of all, like, not that Philly didn't have some good players, because they did, but like there were massive holes on that roster, and from a personnel standpoint, those two defenses could not have been more different from each other in terms of like you could not run the same kind of defense both places. And he didn't seem to really mind that. He seems very comfortable with just saying, hey, I want to play chess. I want to, he was talking about the importance in his mind of not getting beaten before the snap. So he doesn't want to be really locked in there with really clearly defined guys that it's like, well, we know that they're doing this, and so we're going to go out there and try it. No, he wants fluidity and flexibility. And I think it is true with him that he really believes this, that you can throw some of the scheme out the window and talk more about beliefs. I think that the bigger thing with Gannon is what are his beliefs. Because when he was talking at his press conference that we had to wait 4 years for, he was emphasizing over and over that he wants to be a defense that is going to take the ball away. He said it over and over again. He said, this game is about the ball. He said, our job is to take it away, get Jordan Love back on the field, execute schematically and technically, and play fast. He defined a good defense as fast, violent, physical, and taking the ball away. He talked about being able to play fast, present problems for the offense before the snap, but then keep execution simple after the snap, which I think probably that's a thought that occurred to him after watching some tape of these corners he's got to work with this year.
And
frankly,
by golly, if that's not Edgerrin Cooper's music a little bit as well.
Well, that's exactly where my mind went to after the corners.
Yeah.
It's like the corners and then Edgerrin Cooper. I do think the cleanest schematic change, though, is going to be in the safety structure. Jeff Hafley loved to play a middle of the field closed defense. He played this past year. He played about 52% of the snaps were middle of the field closed. Gannon last year, middle of the field closed 46%, which was 28th in the NFL. So the days of Xavier McKinney living back there as a deep post safety might be gone. Obviously he can still rotate there, but a lot. I would bet he gets used a lot more in split safety structures, disguise looks, pattern matching. he's going to be probably a big role question in regard to, like, Gannon likes to play quarters.
Yeah.
And I think
And
middle
don't
field open
fear.
structures. Sorry?
I was just saying, don't fear. Don't fear that, like, oh no, Xavier McKinney is not going to get a chance to make. No, guys, when they're in a tricks coverage where it's a 3-by-1 and he's able to poach the first guy rolling across the field and he gets that pick from a play like that, you're going to be back in. You're going to be back in immediately. Because
it doesn't have to be bad.
No.
The Packers are probably going from, like, McKinney as the eraser in the deep middle to McKinney as the movable chess piece in a split safety disguise.
Right, exactly. And I think, again, kind of to the point of, like, he didn't just kind of, when he went to Arizona, do things his way. Again, you look at Budda Baker's alignment in the league. Basically, other than, like, one season back in 2018, he would move everywhere. Like, legitimately everywhere. There really wasn't a dominant spot for him. And you look at, like, especially his second year, even his first year, though, with Gannon, he had 380 at free safety, 267 in the box, 92 in the slot. Following year, 454 at free safety, 421 in the box, 165 in the slot. So, like, he just was kind of, for that team, it was like, okay, Budda Baker, you're my chess piece. You're moving all over the place. We're not going to, we're not going to pigeonhole you to a spot on my defense, what I like to do. You're extremely effective when you move all over the formation and create havoc wherever I send you and wherever previous coaches have sent you. We're doing that. We're not messing with that. That is effective. We're going to make that work. And so I have to imagine, right, an Edgerrin Cooper who is mug up and blitz, mug up and drop, be the pole runner in Tampa 2. He's not going to be like, oh, we're never going to do that. Again, especially in a quarters look, right? It can look like quarters. It can turn into Tampa. It can turn into palms. All that good stuff. The 2 read. It can look different, right? It went after the snap than it does before, right? You're gonna have a lot of options. Watch Brian Flores' defense. They do this all the time.
Yep.
And I think that's going to benefit Cooper, where it's like, okay, we might run these 3 things when we're in the 2 safety shell. But here's what you're going to be doing on all of these. And he's going to feel comfortable that he's, again, I think maybe even more so than when he played with Quay, who I think, again, Quay was doing a very solid job of being the Mike, but a guy who has plenty of experience being the Mike linebacker going, I know what I'm going to put on Franklin's plate, and that's going to allow you to be you in a lot of scenarios. I think that is what you want. That is what you want. I guarantee you Gannon knows the safety room is a strength. And I guarantee you he's going to make sure that it stays one with how impactful they can be as a unit. Like, that's not going away. So
I have a question for
and again,
you
he knows he has Micah
in regard to
Parsons
that.
coming back, right? Like, he knows he has Micah Parsons coming back. He's got one of the best pass rushers in the league. So he's about, all right, well, we could look at all the things we could do. Look at what Hafley was doing with him. Look what he was doing in Dallas, right? We're going to incorporate some of that. I guarantee you know what? Good for him. He's not doing no press conference. He's probably drawing up a bunch of stuff of, like, all right, when these guys are in and when these guys aren't back, this is what we're going to do. And that, guaranteed. He's thinking about all the potential star power on this defense. Again, it's not in the corner room, but it's elsewhere. It's I think it's in every other spot on this defense. So I think that should excite him, and that's probably why he just doesn't care to be in front of the camera. He's like, man, I got work to do. This is a team that had a lot of expectations after they traded for Micah Parsons. I would like to help them get back to where they thought they could be. So if that's what he's doing, love that.
Can we talk about the sort of give and take, push and pull of linebacker versus safety?
Sure.
Because if we're looking at Arizona Cardinals Gannon and saying, like, okay, what can we throw away from the data that just you can't project forward at all? The first thing I think you'd be tempted to do would be to look at the really heavy dime usage in Arizona. Okay, like, so Hafley was in nickel around 63% of the time, and he only played dime 4% of the time. Understandable, he didn't have any corners. Gannon only used nickel 44% of the time, and he was in dime or other very DB heavy alternate personnel packages over 20% of the time. And so I think you initially would be really tempted to say that doesn't have any bearing on what they're going to do in Green Bay because of how crappy the cornerback room is. But if they're going to be playing nickel, you think they're going to have how many linebackers are they going to have out there, and who are they going to be? I mean, we're going to be playing some 5-man fronts pretty frequently. You're going to have Colin Oliver when he's out there, probably closer to the line of scrimmage. Are we going to have also out there a Tyron Hopper or Isaiah McDuffie, or are we going to have all of our safeties out there and still be playing a lot of corners? Like, what do you think that give and take is going to be regarding the kind of thin linebacker room and the kind of thin cornerback room and loaded safety room? I think between those three, they're going to have to find a balance, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Gannon kind of find a set of guys that he feels really comfortable with, and then just have them out there for just about the whole year. That's what he did in Philly, and it's what he did in Arizona. Like, they're just guys who just don't come off the field hardly ever, and you just kind of mix up where those guys stand and what their assignments are, but it's still kind of the same guys. Am I talking crazy, or is it possible that this really is a clue that the personnel that he had in Arizona, it might not just be hey, they had a bunch of corners and nothing else, but there's nothing that we can take from that and project forward and learn about what he's going to do in Green Bay this year?
Yeah, I mean, in regards to linebacker safety, yeah, I mean, I think I think Philly's potentially a good unit to look at in that regard, where it was like, yeah, linebacker room's not. I think it's might have been even weaker, honestly, than this Green Bay version. And so, I do think you're gonna. Again, I think it would be great. I think Gannon would consider a success if Cooper and Franklin are healthy the whole year, because I don't think they're going to be off the field very much. I imagine that those two are going to probably see the lion's share. Probably more than anybody but maybe McKinney. Like, I think that's what you're looking at here. Of like, if you look by end of season, who's got the most snaps on defense? It's probably McKinney and the two linebackers. All health being equal. So, yeah, I think in Arizona, when you look at it, the DBs were better than the pass rush, for sure, and the linebacker room, all of it. So if and that helped them be able to move Budda Baker into a pseudo linebacker look enough times to be effective, because they're like, all right, we can work with Garrett Williams as a slot corner. Like, that's doable for us. Like, he can handle himself there. Where it's like, okay, then Budda Baker can move around. We can pick on a matchup that we like over here. Baker, you're going to blitz from here. Like, they're the right side of the line. They don't pick up stuff well. Like, we're going to attack here. Like, I think that allowed him to kind of do what he could do with Budda Baker, and knowing that, again, everybody else in the corner room's fine. We can work with the corner room. We need help the pass rush. And so, like, that is why I think you're going to look at, some of these DBs, these linebackers early in the season, where they go, we don't have the juice right now as a pass rusher. And again, hopefully LVN is taking steps and we're seeing it.
Yeah.
But he can't do it by himself. If White and Parsons aren't out there, kind of going to be potentially a one-man show out there. So it's like we gotta help them out. And again, that can lead you to, okay, we're going to have, as you said, maybe we're going to have more linebackers out there. And then Colin Oliver becomes a part of the 5-man fronts. And that's how, we're going to maybe pick on some teams. Or It's, yes, I would love to be a middle field open team, do a lot of quarters. However, can't do it. Can't get after the QB. Boom, here comes Evan Williams rolling into the box and Bullard kind of doing what I said earlier of like kind of let's recreate some of what made Baker so good in these two, and we're going to generate some effectiveness near the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I just think it is. I don't think we're going to have like a really good handle on the defense through a month. So yeah, I which makes it fascinating. I get it. It's also concerning.
Some players coming back though.
We should after a month, and I think that will, if we see a major shift, that's where you go, okay, kind of what we talked about at the top of this discussion, where it's like, yeah, what the early stuff could look like versus the later stuff. But again, I don't think he's going to completely do away with everything, especially if there were things that were effective. So it's going to be fascinating. I know it's a little unnerving for fans. They'd love to know what it's going to be immediately. But again, if the horses aren't there at the beginning, they're going to save for the horses in the back, when they all get healthy. So, as far as the corner room goes, do you think we see any rotation in for the young guys at all? Do you think we see them early in the season? Or is that probably more of a, hey, we're going to wait till the pass rush is better and we'll get the rotation rolling later? Like, I don't know. That's maybe the most interesting question that we haven't answered yet.
I wonder, in Philly, he obviously had just the same two guys out there all the time, and then occasionally mixed in Avonte Maddox. But those also were established guys, and the Packers don't have established corners, and Gannon has no loyalty to frickin' Keyshawn Nixon or Carrington Valentine or anybody.
Yeah,
this is a blank slate. I think that unless the veterans really separate themselves this summer in training camp, I see no reason why Gannon would not be experimenting and rotating through to figure out who can execute the assignments I'm giving him, who can work together. They're probably not going to play as much zone as Hafley did, but they'll still play predominantly zone. And you got to have guys who are communicative and comfortable passing the guys off to each other
and diagnosing what's going on to then communicate, which is where I have some reservations.
You should have a lot of reservations about this cornerback group. It's still not a good room. I think that the defensive tackle room is miles better than it was this time a year ago, before the Kenny Clark trade, and certainly after the Kenny Clark trade. I don't think that the cornerback room is a lot better than it was. I probably had more doubts about Nate Hobbs than anybody else did about him. But it's kind of hard to argue that it's not just sort of a lateral move, Nate Hobbs to St. Just or St. Just and Cisse. Yeah. It's a pretty lateral move there. You're hoping you can find somebody who can come in and give you more than what Hobbs gave you, which was like, it felt like 60 snaps and 3 touchdowns. That's what it felt like.
Yep. It's very true. Yeah. And again, that's as you said, Gannon shouldn't have any prerogative to say, yeah, we got to start Valentine and Nixon. Like, one of them 7th round pick, and again, his contract's up. Like, maybe he plays better. Contract year. Could happen. Or Nixon, who a guy who's, had some he's had some good games but has had the exact opposite on far too many occasions. yeah, I mean, if St. Juice, good zone corner, good match corner, like I know it's not like he's probably not going to be like a home run, but it's
What's
a
his
level of
competition?
it's a
St.
level of
Juice can't
unknown.
possibly dethrone who?
Right. It's an unknown that potentially Gannon might have a better idea of what they can be with what he's trying to do, right? This is maybe a little bit of the other part of like, okay, when I look at this corner room with what I'm envisioning to do based on the strengths of this team, who do I feel like can handle what I'm going to put out there on the plate the best? Who can handle the best? That's the only thing he should be asking, of course, is who can handle what we're going to do. And what we're going to do obviously could be a lot of different things, right? We could see, as we've mentioned already, like some different elements and versions of what the defense is going to look like. Could be like a 3-act play type of thing. So
sure.
So with the corner room, it's the corners. I don't think he necessarily needs to be like, hey, I need to get you in the best position to be successful because like you're one of the dudes in this room, right? He's having those conversations are Micah Parsons, Wyatt, Cooper and Franklin, the safeties. The corners, it's like, all right, who can hang on the best out there? Like that's it. We're in match coverage. Who can hang on the best? Who can see it? Who can communicate? As you said, like this should be as open as it gets. Like if Domani Jackson and St. Juice win the jobs, great, cool. They won it because they were better than everybody else. Great, sweet. If that's how it goes. So fascinating.
Thank you
for sure.
Thank you, Bill, for the super chat. He sent a $2 dono and said the cornerback room will depend on the coaching. Appreciate the donation. I do think that I do think it'll be interesting to see how the coaches decide to handle the room, because certainly, as we were just saying, it feels like such a level playing field of you should be willing to give a lot of different guys real opportunities. And I also wonder, do they move Bullard into the cornerback room? Because the Packers have talked about him as a corner at times. Is that something they do? He's listed as a safety on their website right now. He has not always been listed as a safety. But if he's out there as their nickel all the time, is he going to be a corner nickel or a safety nickel? You can play a couple different ways. I would be interested to see that, because there's a lot of the year last year where we were just going, it's crazy they're only playing 2 corners the entire freaking season. But also Bullard was out there. And so if you take off your goggles of, hey, I'm evaluating the team a certain way because this is who these players clearly are. And if you instead say, all right, let's squint and try and imagine how the Packers see it, maybe they think they are playing 3 corners out there all the time.
Yeah, I think, well, to your question of like, do they see him, how do they see Bullard, right? I mean, the nickel corner has to be a corner and a linebacker. That's why it's so valuable. That's why you're seeing teams chase it, because it's a lot to handle. Got to be quick, stop starts, fluid in coverage, have to be willing, able, and physical enough to fit the run like a linebacker. That's why it's so important. That's why guys like Nick Evan-Warrior are playing there, right? Oh, we got the best out of him because we know he can do these things. Boom, Cooper DeJean, you're playing there. Like, that's where we see you. That's who you're going to be. And so, could Pons do that for the Jets? Absolutely. So, like, that's the thing with the nickel position is I think it's, far more important than we even maybe realize, where it's like you have to be a linebacker and a corner, which makes it very difficult. Honestly, probably more difficult than it is to play outside corner, especially if in schemes that are, asking the outside corners to kind of like, you're going to be carrying the 1 or the 2, whoever gets depth, Whoever gets that depth, you're just kind of picking them up, right? Whereas the slot corner is like, all right, no, but we need you to be you need to have your eyes on the run fit, but also, make sure you're not getting dusted with a lot of scrimmage if it's not a run. So the nickel position, it's obviously Bullard's to lose, and I think he just has to continue to, one, be up for the fight in there, which I think he is, and two, I think take the coaching of a Babich and Gannon to heart of like, hey, I can, I think if they're talking about him at corner, that to me that means they feel like they have enough confidence to at least play slot corner then, because you have to have the corner skills, and I think you have to have, again, kind of what you bring is a linebacker, hitter, tone setter, but play under control. Like, I think that very clearly they have enough confidence in him to do it. I'm excited for him because I think you have coaches in the building now who might be able to kind of lean in that direction of like, hey, we know how to get that extra gear from you. And it's kind of like, who else is playing that spot? Nixon, I guess. Like, he's the other guy that could play the spot. Like, I don't.
By the way, I think
I know people are going to say Cisse because obviously he says he feels comfortable in there, and Green Bay mentioned it right after they drafted him. Like, we can see him as inside, outside. And I get the run defense, the tackling's pretty good. Listen, everybody knows my reservations about the footwork, though. So, but again, Bullard should win this, and I'm excited for him to hopefully, as I said before, kind of become part of this aggregate of a Buda Baker that does everything you could possibly ask for out of the position. So,
and I did just want to say, I think we'd be remiss to not mention, since we're talking about the cornerback room and the coaching, the cornerback's coach is Daniel Bullocks. Bobby Babich is our pass game coordinator and
right.
DB coach. I think he's, in practical application, he's going to be the safety coach.
But do the safeties need more? Who needs more coaching? The safeties or the corners?
Well, I can tell you who's not going to be working with the safeties that much. Daniel Bullocks is going to be working with these corners who we have so many questions about. So
there's going to be one day training camp. Babish is like, you guys, I love you guys. You're good. I got to go yell at these corners a little bit more. We're going to get one of those days where McKinney and Williams are just kind of hanging out. They're chilling. Bullard's kind of hanging out with them, chilling. And the corners are just getting absolutely screamed at in practice. I feel that coming.
You think it's only going to be one day? Just one day?
No, 1 month, maybe. 1 month. I think that's a lot of it. That's what's going to happen, where it feels like, asking people on the grounds, who got chewed out today? When they're going through coverage stuff and installs on defense, who's getting yelled at? It's like, oh, come on.
Sometimes,
who do you think is getting yelled at? Where is Babich having to spend his time? Boy,
sometimes those rooms that get screamed at the most
news to me
in the summer are the ones who play the best in the fall, though. We've seen that happen.
Well, then, they should be screaming. They should be screaming at them every second of the day. Every second.
The Packers,
they should be screaming at them if they put the milk in before the cereal for breakfast before they run out there. Like that's it. Motivate the crap out of these quarters. Scream at them every second. Honestly, if that's what it takes,
particularly Keyshawn,
we got to do it. We got to do it.
Dude, if I could have one of these coaches on this podcast, I would play for them the clip of Keyshawn making that career move at the goal line to allow the Bear to score a touchdown. I'd play that and just sit there in silence and wait for them to address what just happened. Hey, listen.
Put on the Ravens game.
Put
on the Ravens game.
I can't do it. I can't do it to myself. The Packers are still going to be a zone-first defense. They're going to have more man change-ups probably. They're going to play,
for sure.
You would expect more match principles, more disguise. You thought this was one thing, but it became another. But for a last item before we get out of here, I do want to talk about the defensive front. I'm expecting that we're not going to see a real blitz heavy defense in general, and I'm also expecting that since Gannon is not coming in with some predefined scheme and he wants to let these guys play what is going to fit them best, I'm expecting that you're not going to see LVN and Micah Parsons locked into having to line up the way that some formal structured scheme is going to call for them to do so. I think if LVN wants to have his hands in the dirt or if Micah wants to stand up, I think he's going to let them do that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it would be very silly to have watched what Dallas was doing with Parsons and watch what Hafley was doing with Parsons last year, where he's sitting behind Wyatt, like, where am I going, and not have an element of that. It would be very, very foolish not to have an element there. So and even as you met with Van Ness, it's kind of like early downs. Yes, absolutely needs to be in a position where he can not get moved off the ball and, not let the line of scrimmage get reset, not let a combo block reach the second level, right? Be physical enough to kind of handle some of that, right? Not get kicked out by the tackle if he's going to be on the end, right? Like, I think Gannon will be smart about that for sure on the early downs. He's not going to. I don't think he's going to be, out of his mind with some of that. But as you said, when it's 2nd and 11, when it's 3rd and 8, all bets are off, 100%. Like, can LVM be quicker than the guards? Yes. Can he run over centers? For sure. Is Micah quicker than everybody else? No matter probably who, other than maybe a couple tackles that can match him. That's like it. And they're still going to lose reps to him. So, it'd be very silly to not take it. Yeah. It'd be very silly not to take advantage of some of those matchups. Yeah, 100%. And it's like, does that start to get into JJ's dream?
You're talking about Colin Oliver.
Oh my gosh, where's Carl Brooks? I'm sorry. Is he outside the tackle's shoulder? Hold on a minute here. So it just opens the door, right? And obviously Oliver and Sutton and guys that can move around the front, like, I think is going to be very, very interesting to see how all of that comes together.
Early in the year, it's going to be really fascinating because Javon Hargrave is going to be out there, and Jake, do you think you have any finger on the pulse of how soon Devontae Wyatt will be back? Because I don't feel like I have any clue at all.
I don't, which makes me feel like he's going to be back before the other two with the ACLs. But probably not that much before. I think you're going to see McClellan.
I think you're going to get a hefty dose of McClellan and Hargrave together to start the season. And then if Micah's not back yet, and I don't think he will be, it sounds like the Packers don't think he will be, it would be really interesting, like you're saying, to move Carl Brooks outside. Carl Brooks and LVN. And then, listen, do whatever the heck you want to with Denai Sutton and Baron Sorrell, but Colin Oliver is another one of those players that you just never think about. Like, Carl Brooks and Colin Oliver are like these. They're such tweeners, and I think that Gannon is the guy who just isn't gonna care if you're a tweener. He's gonna find a role for you.
It's gonna be like, why have you been doing this? Why you guys been playing it so straight? Let's get a little wild.
I know what happened. He met Colin Oliver in the hall, and he's like, "This is you." And Colin Oliver's like, "Okay."
Colin Oliver's like, "Who's this guy? I see why you don't trot him out there for pressers."
Dude, I want so badly. I don't want this released to the public, but I want to see for myself some clips of Gannon just being a complete weirdo to some of our players.
Sure.
Preferably not like our superstars. Don't go annoy the superstars.
Yeah. You don't have to.
But go annoy Denai Sutton. Go annoy
the rookies,
Colin Oliver. go annoy the crap out of Carl Brooks. This would be so freaking funny. And then Keyshawn Nixon, oh my gosh. I would love to know if Gannon is giving Nixon some crap. I want to see that so bad. He's such a funny, weird dude, and I both dislike him and really like him at the exact same time for the exact same reasons.
Yeah, you're gonna get the quirk out of canon of like a Sean Spencer, and then you're gonna get Babbage is gonna be like Carlton Lassiter for the psych fans out there of like just when he's had enough, he's simply had enough. And so yeah, just a little bit of, I think, fun contrasting styles there might really work. It might work. Really could. Is this Cope? Is this where we're at? Is this where we're at?
Well, I think it certainly is Cope because we were just absolutely baffled, I think, at just the way that the whole front office was viewing the team and the offseason and the situation. Oh, pause. Iowa Joe wants to know who is Gus. This is up to you, Jake. I can't wait.
I mean, okay. So, all right, here's where I'm going to go with this because I think it works. So Gus makes sure the head is shiny, right? You know, whereas Matt LaFleur got the haircut. Just saying. Looking spiffy, cool, a little smooth out there sometimes. I think that's where I'd go. Yeah, I have heard about Pluto, and it is messed up.
Is that a reference from the show, or is it?
It is.
I'm guessing it is.
Yeah.
Was it a reference to when they demoted Pluto?
It was a season 1 joke, which would not have been long after that demotion.
Okay.
So yes.
LaFleur was talking a bit about the defense and about his evolution since 2019. And he said about the NFL and about his place in it, he said, adapt or die. He said this year he really felt the need to go back to the foundation, strip everything down to the bolts, and make sure that all of his players understand the little details and understand the why behind every call. And he said that is the difference that separate those details are what separate the good from the great. And I do think that there is a very significant, striking overlap between that mindset and the way that Jonathan Gannon talks about the importance of execution and versatility and adaptability, right? We're going to build the playbook here. We're not going to force a canned scheme. We're going to test the players in the spring and see what they can handle, simplify it enough for them to play fast and adapt the system to the roster. But I also wonder, as LaFleur's talking about this versatility being a philosophical belief, I'm trying to see if players can handle multiple spots, and that adds value for them. Like, how much could this matter for the defense with Gannon's emphasis on flexible DBs, safeties, edge, up front, the multiplicity and versatility that he wants to have the outcome be simplicity after the snap and mass confusion before the snap.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is wild that with all the bodies in the room, Green Bay could essentially play a 3-4 or 4-3, and they're comfy kind of either way. Which, yeah, again, kind of shows you like they're just front office. They're vibing. They're drafting talent. They're looking for the traits. No, when you were saying like LaFleur stripped it down to the studs and then just kind of getting to the why. I'm just thinking about that Eagle game, 3rd and short, 4th and short, inside zone. I'd love to know the why behind those, Back when the crashing out started. Would love to know the why there. Yeah, I do think that, like, again, for
My eye is twitching.
not saying everybody's not everybody's not smart enough to pick up on this, but just as a kind of just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. That doesn't mean the like 7-step drop vertical shot passing game is going anywhere. It's not. They have 4 guys in the receiver room, maybe 5, who get out of the field. It's like it's not going anywhere. 7-step drop stuff, and when Kraft is back, the unfortunate dilemma for defenses of like, do we go to the 7-step drop stuff? Do we match the vertical stuff? And then, oh no, the freight train has the ball. Crap, right? Like that, you got to pick and choose, buddy. So that's not going anywhere. That's what made them so effective to start the season, right? And so when Kraft gets back, that's going to be there. But I do think, like, for guys like Reed who have had up and downs, Watson, I think, has done a tremendous job with growth. Like, I think he wants to see that from everybody, right? He was, Watson's just, I think, a really good example. Kraft stuck with it. I know his rookie season did not go how we wanted for, 10, 11 weeks. Stay patient. He found it. Like, I think it's some of that why I think will help for these guys. I think it's, again, good to kind of back to the drawing board. How do we get, how do we unlock that extra bit of motivation and energy and desire to execute the way that I know that LaFleur believes they can, right? That's not just an offensive thing, but as you said, it's a defensive thing as well. And I think that's maybe why, him doing some introspection, when the interviews came in, hearing, maybe just again with Gannon, there was just more that aligned with what he was thinking about after the season, that he goes, yes, I see it. I think he's matching my vision of what I think, where we want to go from here. And that's why he's here. And that's why guys like Babbage are coming in. And so, it's very possible that that's kind of just where, that introspection and then the interviews, just that aligned, and that's why he's here. And that's where, you feel like, okay, we want that extra bit of, we're going to execute this better than we ever have. The motivation, everything is going to be focused on obviously the ultimate goal, but that ultimate goal being a microcosm of the ultimate goal on every single play. Executing how we know we can. Right? That's, and maybe, clip that. So then we could send that over to LaFleur if he needs, that little extra bit. I'm happy to provide that for him. I doubt he needs it.
Maybe after Ed Policy comes on, maybe Matt LaFleur will come on too.
I doubt he needs me to spell it out. He got to, the highest level for his profession, but I'm sure these are things. I mean, if you loved this thing and your desire to win, which as fans, all of us have that, right? Like, how could you not, after this season, kind of just like, all right, what do I need to do? Like, what's missing from me? What's missing from my staff? Now, offensive staff, that's another thing. But it'll be interesting to see how this materializes. So, shout out to the offensive staff.
Poor time
right there.
Poor time.
Shout out to the offensive staff. Besides LaFleur.
Guys like Luke Getsy,
for sure.
Adam Stenovich.
Yeah.
Mostly like the rest of the guys, but Luke
would just love more new blood in the room regarding QB coach, OC, all of that. Would love that. Maybe that's the next
QB
step.
coach. What's that? Oh, you mean like Sean Mannion and Tom Clements, real QB coaches, or do you mean former wide receiver coaches like Luke Getsy?
A friend of number 8 coming back for year 22.
All right. So listen, we had a really fun defense conversation. I appreciate, Jake, you helping us do that. Coming up next, we have some starred questions that we saved, comments from you guys, including a tight end question that Jake really wants to get into. But if you want to hear all that, you have to be watching on the YouTube live stream. So if you're audio only, you know where to find us. Go to YouTube, search up Packer Project, and you can hear the third half of the show. That's where we get into the fun questions. All right, Jake. Here we go. So, Iowa Joe says, honestly, who would you have taken at tight end over in the Packers draft? Who would you have taken a tight end over in the Packers draft class?
Oh, no. I knew
Here's
this
the
moment
problem.
would come.
You wouldn't have taken a second-round tight end, I don't think, which means...
No, but I would have taken a tight end over every Packers draft pick. I think Reardon and Delp, to me, were both better prospects than everyone Green Bay drafted. So,
who was your tight end one in this class again?
My tight end one was still Sadiq. However, Reardon was next. Reardon was next, and then Delp was after that.
Yeah, I really liked Reardon. I did like Roush despite the complete lack of arms.
T-Rex.
I liked Delp. Yeah. Who's the other? There was one more tight end I really liked. Who was it? Not Sadiq.
Did he block?
Yes. Well, all the tight ends I like block. What kind of question is that?
Kasmeric?
I did like Kasmeric, but he was a little bit of a later guy for me. I just didn't have as high value on him as like Reardon. I did really like.
Not the guy
I liked
the Jags
Kasmeric
drafted,
a lot more
right?
than who they draft.
Burkittscher?
I liked him, but no, that's not who it was.
I didn't think that was
Tight end
right.
class 2026. Freaking. Oh, Daquan Wright I really liked. Maybe that's who I was thinking of.
Oh, was that who you're thinking of? That makes sense.
Okay, here's the full list. I like Stowers. I didn't like Sadiq. I did like Stowers. Wasn't really on Max Clare. I did like Sam Roush. I liked Delp, Reardon.
Gosh, who's the other guy? Maybe it is
Daquan.
right.
It was Daquan. Must
have been right. Yeah.
Down Bentley I thought was good. I liked Tanner Kozel.
Oh.
I liked Nowakowski, who went to the Steelers.
Yeah. That's McCarthy for you right there.
I thought it was a really nice tight end class overall and a really nice linebacker class. Yeah. I mean, you even had like guys like Bredesen, really late in the draft too. I liked a ton. Hibner went to the Ravens. I thought that was a fantastic fit.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Kasmeric was probably about my tight end 4-ish, 4 or 5 in this class. It all gets thrown off by the fact that I just didn't like Sadiq at all. Like, basically just wouldn't have touched him. He just didn't do anything for me as a football player.
It's one of the trickier things because, I do think, like, he has all of the want to try to be the multifaceted threat as a tight end. He just doesn't have the body type to hang as a multifaceted threat. And I just don't know if he's ever going to be able to really unlock that fully. And like, I don't know what the Jets are going to do with kind of the grouping of pass catchers they have. But
they're going to be awful this year.
But yeah, it's tough for the Jets.
You see this image on the screen right here? It's going to be that. That's going to be
that year. For sure. For sure.
I hate everything about
Here's the thing.
The Jets are
I'm willing to throw the Jets a bone. Okay?
I'm willing to throw them in the freaking trash can.
I don't want to play in MetLife. So they can have the win week 2. We're not playing there. I would just boycott I would just forfeit the game. We're not playing on that crap field. Forget about it. You can have the win. Take your gift. Take your 1-16 and run. You can have it. Not getting anybody hurt on that stupid field. Period. beat the Vikings, then don't go play. Seriously, just don't. Josh Jacobs' knee was swollen for the rest of the season after that. I don't remember who said it, one of the Georgia guys. Maybe it was Brinson who was like, man, that was fun playing on concrete, wasn't it?
It was
like, just don't go.
Yeah.
Don't play. Don't play that game. Don't go play. Seriously.
Yeah, people talk about like
just asking for trouble. Just asking for trouble.
People talk about playing a game in a parking lot, like in college football.
Yeah.
Literally a parking lot, though, MetLife.
Yes.
They don't even put a turf on top of it. It's just
let me tell you,
a parking lot.
Thank goodness that they're bringing out the grass for the World Cup, though.
I know.
Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, it was tricky. I know people are asking the last couple weeks that I've been on of like, man, well, who would you have taken at 52 and 77 and all of that? We can make that a show at some point. We can kind of outline our stuff and that. I mean, the short list again, as I mentioned at 52, I think briefly was kind of the short list for me was CJ Allen, who the Colts picked right after, who was a linebacker. And again, were they going to go touch linebacker after, clear belief in Tyron Hopper and trading for a veteran? Probably not, right? Manny McNeil-Warren, probably the second or third best player on the board, in my opinion. Were they going to take a safety? Probably not. Kieran Crawford, the edge from Auburn. Were they going to take an edge rusher? Well, clearly they did take one. I think, again, and I mentioned this a couple times, I think my biggest problem was that if they were going to go needs-based, it just was a rough draft to need the things they needed based on where they were picking.
Well, that's what they've been doing,
It's kind of tough.
That's the thing. That's what they've been doing. His last 3 drafts now, Goody has not been attacking the draft where it's deep. He's been attacking it where it's weak. I don't know why he's doing that. It makes no sense to me. He is drafting. These last 3 years, he's been drafting for need.
Yeah. He did get the best linebacker to fall in his lap from that class, though, which was big. And they needed it. So.
Look, this is the year we're going to start really getting some answers about, because we've been sitting here for 3 years now, heavily critiquing the process. This is year 3 for the 2024 class. 2024, 2025, they're going to have to start stepping up and actually playing and contributing. We're this draft and develop team. That's fine. You can have a couple years to develop. But now it's year 3.
It's go time.
It's go time. I need Jordan Morgan to be a contributor. I need Javon Bullard. I know people like Javon Bullard. He pisses me off, man. He gets chippy, and people like that. But just down to down, he is not a reliable guy in his assignments. And even on paper, his on paper stats are not that good. I need a step up from him. I really do. Edgerrin Cooper has been really good. This is the year we're putting it all on him. Like, he's got to be the guy in that room. Like, I have no complaints about what we've gotten from Edgerrin so far in his career. I really like Edgerrin. But it's also go time from him to, sorry, man, you're the dude now. He's probably not going to be wearing the green dot. It's probably going to be Zaire wearing the green dot, I would think. I would kind of prefer that, frankly. But, like, it's go time for Edgerrin. Tyron Hopper, congrats on your 1 snap last year. That was really cool. What was that, the Steelers game, I think? He came in and had a pass breakup on his one play in the end zone. Tyron Hopper.
He also picked off Caleb.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
that's true. You're a freaking 3rd round pick, man. It's time to show us why we drafted you. Because right now, listen, there's a hall of shame in Brian Gutekunst's resume of his 3rd round picks. And, like, kind of the only people who aren't in there are Sean Ryan managed to play himself out of there just this past season. Tucker Kraft is a Herculean demigod who broke the 3rd round curse. But there's been a guy since Tucker Kraft was drafted who has really kind of fit the Goody third-round prototype, and that's Tyron Hopper, where he gets drafted, everybody's immediately like, why did we select him in the third round? I guess the Packers see something we don't. And then we just see what we expected to see from him. So, who was our, let's see, Marshawn Lloyd. Time to actually play some freaking football. I think that that's a reasonable ask. Play some football at all. Play a preseason game. How about that? How about complete a practice without exploding your leg? What was our fourth round pick in 2024? What did we do in the fourth round that year? Do we have a fourth round pick?
Williams.
Oh, yeah. Evan Williams. Stud. No notes. Fifth round. Frickin' dude who's not going to see the field ever. Safety. Jacob Monk. Center. Jacob Monk.
Might as well be.
Might as well move. Can you lose some weight, please, and go play safety? Actually, what we really need is a corner. Can you go play corner? Because you're not big enough to be an offensive lineman. So can you drop some weight and go be a corner for us?
Maybe he can be a tight end.
He's not tall enough to be a tight end, man.
Well, if he's not tall, that means he might be able to just drive people off the ball, though. Win the pad level game.
Jacob Monk is only 6'3". That's not tall enough to be it. He's all he's got to do is drop 50 pounds, and he is like a H-back. He's only 50 pounds away from being an H-back, man.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, you're paying him money, real American dollars, to do nothing. Might as well have him lose weight and go be a H-back. Or a long snapper. Can he be a long snapper? What? Why not? There's no reason he can't be a long snapper.
There's an idea.
Like, he already knows how to snap. This might be an option. Fifth round, long snapper. So there you go. It's go time, man.
Yep.
You want to take this comment here from Edgar Diaz?
Yeah, I thought we covered this. I thought I gave him the win for this a while ago. But hey, good on Edgar for saying that Avion Terrell could fall to us. He didn't, but it was close. It was close. Gets to play with his brother. Most polished NFL running quarter in the draft is something we won't know just yet. That one I don't remember you saying.
Mansour Delane exists.
That one I don't remember. D'Angelo Pons also exists. Small guy who can who can also play, who actually can play. No, it'll be fun to follow Terrell in Atlanta. It's a shame that Pons went to the Jets. That's all I'll say. Because
they might finally get an interception though.
They probably will this year. They probably will.
What if, because Pons is so tiny, what if quarterbacks don't see him and he just gets like a crap load of interceptions?
Yeah, not impossible.
It's really not impossible.
Oh, and they play the Titans week 1, I believe. May get to go up against Carnell Tate. Will Cam Ward see him?
Yeah,
Cam Pons pick up a pass. Good one to watch week 1, people. Good one to watch for the Rooks.
Although he didn't really line up against Carnell Tate at all.
I know. He handled this much more dominant teammate.
Former
competed
teammate.
Hard. Yeah.
Because
Pons
hard. And Jeremiah
used
to play together. And then
I think he's got ample preparation for this week 1 matchup. That's going to be exciting. Honestly, might circle Jets Titans. Might be rewatching that a lot to see how that goes. Just for those two. Anybody else? Not worried about it. I want to see those two go to battle.
I agree there's nothing else I want to see in that game, but that would be fun.
That's about it. Yeah.
New commenter, Pack Fan Iowa 1251 says Cisse is an outside corner. Yeah, he is.
Indeed.
There's a lot of things that you can have questions about with Cisse, but whether he's an outside corner, no. That one's
Yeah, no, I know this was, I think, in response to me saying that the Packers mentioned that they kind of viewed him as an inside-outside versatile player. Doesn't mean much. It's a little early for any sweeping declarations, but they did say that, to be fair. I don't agree.
I don't agree either. And I don't believe it.
But they
I
did
think it's
say
just
that.
bunk.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think they say stuff just to say it. I really do.
Yeah. He can play everywhere.
I
like this quarterback as much as Mahomes. I gave him the playbook. Okay. For those who don't know, that was Sean Payton when they drafted Bo Nix in 2024. So there is a lot going on there when people come to the podium talking about guys they picked. Can say whatever they want. They haven't played yet.
Well, listen, people stopped putting stuff in the chat, so
yeah. So I guess, good times any.
I guess it's time for me to go to bed because it is past my bedtime.
End of the third half.
This is the end of the third half. I went to a game at Ford Field, and the announcer there was so dramatic, and he kept going, "This is the end of the first quarter." And you were like, I think you can tone it down a little bit, man. Like, we got three more of these to get through.
I love it. We're always talking about more passion, more energy, right? Yeah, you can. I'll eat it up. I'm good with that. Be dramatic. It's entertainment.
United Bates saying "Go Pack Go," and United Bates, I want to thank you again for the dono that you sent in last week, or not last week. I guess it was technically, a few days ago, but technically last week on Friday. Appreciate you. That kind of made my night, made me feel real good. So I just want to say thank you. And here's another new commenter, Jarrell Lee 336. Go Pack Go. Go Pack Go, Jarrell Lee.
Maybe we'll do a secret stream on Friday. The streets are saying might be a possibility.
Look at Jarrell Lee's profile picture here. Here's what it makes me think of.
Is it Jordan Love, John Wick?
It is, yeah. I can't get this stupid picture off my screen. There we go. Look, it's like almost the exact same picture.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
Jordan Wick. Jarrell Lee, are you Jordan Wick?
This is what happens when Toyotathon begins. Right here.
Yeah.
This is how it looks. Maybe people think, "Oh yeah, he's jolly." No, he's locked in when Toyotathon starts.
Although, okay, we got to talk about this before we get off. You concerned? I'm a little concerned. My wife is the one who pointed this out to me, and I admit I had not looked at it from this angle. And you know what? We got interrupted here because Bill has another dono, $5 dono. Packers forfeit the Jets. Monk as our snapper. Great show. 10 out of 10. No notes.
Yes to all of that, and thank you.
All right, so my wife pointed this out to me.
Okay.
Jordan Love, not technically him. It was Ronica, but Jordan was involved. They just had a baby. Jordan Love just had a baby. He's, as somebody who is coming out on the other side of having two babies, you don't get a lot of sleep. You're not at your best. Are you a little nervous about Jordan taking a little step back from being sleep deprived with a baby in the house?
No. And here's why. I'm going to shout out my boys. I'm going to shout out my boys here from a little show that they'll never know that I'm shouting them out. They're way too big.
I can't wait to hear this from
the no laying up guys.
You don't have any babies.
The no laying up guys. Every time a golfer has a kid, they talk about, man, just there's so much perspective. You gain so much perspective once you have a kid. So I think Jordan Love is going to be brimming with perspective this season. And I think that makes him more dangerous than before.
I'm getting
More
Ratatouille
dangerous.
flashbacks.
Okay.
When,
You think he's a
when he
goldfish with
orders-
interceptions now? Just wait. That thing's gone from the back of his mind. He said, I got to let it go. It's not that important. Okay, what's important is the next one, the next play I make. Right? So I think that's just shout out to them. They're never going to see this. Doesn't matter. But that's my rebuttal to being nervous about love after having a kid.
My name is Jeff.
Just play all the
Well,
hits.
listen. That's our show. I thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, United Bates, for joining us. Thank you to Tyler Dershel, Too Old for This, Drew, Pac Fan Iowa, Iowa Joe, all the Iowa people, Jarrell Lee. Appreciate all y'all. And a whole bunch of other people. Edgar, Ayers,
Yes.
Triumph.
Yeah.
See, at this point, we were naming so many names that we're going to accidentally leave like one person out, and they're going to feel horrible now. Because they'll be like,
This
"Bring
is
Sean
why-
everybody except for me."
Wait, do you say Drew? I think you said Drew.
I said Drew.
Okay.
Listen,
This is the fun part where we go and say names twice. And we miss one.
I'm going to spare us
Said
from
Bill.
saying names twice. So I'm going to say to
Go
all
for the
you,
donos. Yeah. I think we're
thank you all. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us, having a great time. We appreciate you. From all of us here at the Pack Project, go, Pack, go.